What's up, Squadron? Aviation has given me a ton of amazing experiences.
Good job there. Nice rock, high wing.
But more importantly, it's introduced me to a whole new family of friends.
Like, dude, you're killing it. You're having a great day.
So just never give up.
Airport, and then, oh, by the way, I got carb ice while I was flying through, so the engine started running rough. And I had to
Join us tonight as we're cleared direct for some hangar flying. I am Bryon Bowman, and this is SuperAero Live.
That's a lot. I mean, a lot, cookie. What's up, Av Geeks? It is Wednesday, which can only mean one thing. I need another drink of water, apparently, and it's time for another episode of SuperAero Live. I am so excited to see everybody. I gotta warn you, I had like 4 hours of sleep the last 2 nights in a row, so I'm a little loopy, but we'll just all hold on to our butts. We'll do a little butt shimmy in the cockpit. Bango, bango. Everything will be fine. Are you guys ready to talk about aviation tonight? Let's say hi to a couple people in the chat. James Hyatt was here first. Nice job, James. Zachary Sherman's here. James Clark and the good side of ADD. You were actually third, but good attempt there. Red Baron Modeling, Wolf Pilot, 782 Papa, Waukesha Pilot is here. Freedom Fixer Flying is here. Marty is here. Jeffrey Jensen's here. Anitra is here. She says, why you gotta go live so late, Anitra? Because my kids need to go to bed first. Literally, that's the only reason why. Is because I can't. They gotta go the F to sleep, kids. That is a problem that we have. Outside is here. I'm just scrolling through the names. Looks like you guys are already chatting it up. I am really excited to talk to you guys tonight about aviation, as I am every week. And this week, 2 really special guests. One that I would call a Sky Bro, and a new friend that I just met a few minutes ago. You may have seen them on the internet. You may have seen them maybe even on like a high-end streaming platform. We'll talk about that more soon. If I can figure out which button to press, because it's been a while since we had multiple people. Check it out. Bam! I did it!
Oh my.
It's the guys from Old Green Plain.
Ryan, how
What's
are
up,
you, brother?
Ryan?
Dude, I just realized I have a smaller window than you guys, so I gotta be careful about my
It's to hold Colin's head.
Yeah,
It's to hold my big head.
Yeah. Colin and Craig, man, it's so good to see you guys on my show. I've been a fan of your show. It was actually interesting for folks at home. I met Colin in Texas, like a month or 2 ago, something like that. And oh, go ahead. No, I was just saying we announced a show together. We announced
Absolutely.
and you competed, of course, and did quite well. But we were like on the mic for like hours and hours, and I was like, they're like, hey, you're gonna be with this guy Colin over here, and I was like, oh, I don't know, this guy, like, I never know who it's gonna be or what it's gonna be like. And then you showed up, and we were like in the RV, we're like talking about cool airplanes. It's like, this is gonna be fine, and it was fine. It was great, and you're kind of a celebrity. People were coming up to me and asking me where you were.
Yeah, the words you don't ever want to say is I was in the RV with Colin. But the reason we met was because of Anitra. So
yeah, Anitra,
Anitra, give a shout out to Anitra because she rocks this thing. And anyway, high five to Anitra. Can't wait to see you guys in December.
Yes, I'll be there. I got the flights booked. Come on down to the Central Florida Classic, everybody. Should be good.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. Are you kidding me? Us guys on the mic? It's going to be a blast.
We should work on some new material.
You should work on the ability for the both of you to manage air.
Well, here's what we're working on, Craig.
We're just gonna keep talking, and you can do it. Like, Craig's just like, hey, I'm over here, guys. I'm just doing this.
I'm actually
bromance happening.
I'm actually gonna try to bring it up so that Craig makes it down there because no one can manage a mic like Craig.
No one wants non-technical aviation advice from a nobody. Nobody wants that. Not least of all you pilots. You guys are a lot to deal with. I'll be very honest with you. I love you. You keep me alive when I'm up there, but you're a bit extra, a little bit.
Really?
So
that's interesting.
Anitra says hi. by the way. Anitra says hi. Sorry, I'm going to just interject. So she's here. She's still listening to us and all the BS coming out of our mouths. So, you sent me a video. You guys sent me some content, and I think maybe the first thing we should do is I should just show that video that you sent me so that people could see a little bit about like what you guys do, right? Like, would that be a good way to introduce it? So I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna load it in kind of a weird way, on the fly here. Really good television. But basically,
while you're doing that,
yeah, why don't you tell us what it's about? Who are you guys? And I'll do my technical producery stuff.
Yeah, so my name's Collin Caneva. I pilot. Started flying a lot of years ago with my father, and Craig and I actually worked together. Craig's a non-aviator that I kind of brought into the circle, and that's always a good thing because my whole passion is to bring people into the circle, introduce them to aviation. And there's no one that's been more fun to introduce to aviation than my wife, Angie. But the second person that's been blast to introduce is Craig Spilker. And so, anyway, Craig, I tell you, man, you got balls because you get in this airplane and we're flying around and doing things that a non-aviator just isn't used to doing.
I respect the profession, regardless of the thing I said before, which I don't remember it, but you pilots are genuinely just very like, okay, you know, anybody who has expertise, there's doctors, there's, you know, school bus drivers, there's any level of technician available. You pilots are a unique breed unto yourselves. And I have come to really enjoy that side of you, my brother, Collin. And I have seen that extrapolated, you know, against every pilot I've ever met. You pilots really have a genuine love of expertise, and you got to, because we don't fly. Those are non-pilots. So you got to get us back home on the ground safe. And I love all you pilots for that. And it's really been fun to watch, my brother Collin, you know, to see you from the outside in, with when you enjoy your love, you know, aviation. Second to only Angie. But
I gotta say, I just want to go back a step. Collin, did you hear he compared us to doctors?
Well.
That's great. I know
Actually,
that is not a thing anyone has ever said about me that I would maybe be comparable to that. So thank you. I will send you the $20 in the mail.
Hold on. There are people who their heart race really, really high, and you somehow keep them alive. How's that not a doctor? I see that as the same thing. I don't get it.
That's a good point, Spilker. Well, here's the thing: is one of my really good friends. Well, I have a lot of good friends that are doctors. And it's funny because whenever we hang out together, my banker is one of my best friends, and he is the most honest. And he always says, "Well, what do you know? You're just a doctor." Like, because he always says all doctors have to do is memorize a book. Life is take it as it comes, and not against my doctor friends, because I think that most of them are actually more street smart than the average cat. But
there are a lot of doctors watching this show right now, so careful.
Hey, I love the doctors.
You are a live TV expertise, you know, number one person. So let me give you a good segue.
Give me a great segue because I have the video ready to go.
Exactly. What I love most about what Old Green Plane does is show expertise. It's show someone who is outside their own comfort zone, i.e. me, but yet sees, you know, the mutual value in a doctor and a kicker and Collin, who else have we had? You know,
TV
the head of
show host.
Oh my goodness.
Well, here,
politicians.
As you talk about it, there's some people in your little hype reel you can talk through here. Collin.
Seatbelts are tight and fastened.
Your wife.
Oh, wait.
Oh, my
audio
wife.
is playing. Why is the audio playing? See? Live TV. There we go. Now you can
No,
talk
that's
about
good. So Angie,
there's
she's
the
a
Old Green
meditation
Plane.
expert. We
Yeah,
have fighter pilots. So right here in this clip, a fighter pilot was flying the airplane. Great stuff. She's a TV show host. And what else did she do, Craig?
She was a pro poker player. You know, every time I meet pilots, they have multiple, layers of expertise. There's, not just one thing they do. There's multiple things they do, and I found that really fascinating. Well, except that me and that. But when you
Craig,
watch,
you got to load in your pants on that one. That was great.
yeah, when you watch
What?
when you watch our show, I think pilots and aviators can get behind it. That's easy. I hope we can. We really want to make sure that you pilots and you aviators know that we respect that world. Look at that's old Jughead. But at the same time, like if you're a non-pilot like me who's scared to death, there's also value to watching the show. You get to watch a lot of expertise, not our hair with what is going on, dude. Goodness gracious.
Hey, real quick, I think we got to raise a high five. Russell Sperry from Idaho is just joined up and said, I'm here from Idaho. So here we go, Russ. Good to see you, brother.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and by the way, people are mentioning in the chat, Craig, they said that you looked kind of green. Yeah, Jeff Jensen says, Craig was green in the gills for the first 5 episodes, and you powered through.
Yeah, well, that's because of Collin. Again, I give, all kudos to you guys, you pilots out there, because I have to trust. There's no other choice I have. I don't know another way. But I love seeing, this right here, this trip west, at the end of our last season, we encountered some winds. I would love to understand a baseline of the winds that all you pilots would withstand. I really would, Collin, because there was a moment in which Collin turned to us on our last episode, second to last episode of the season, where he looked at me and he was like, we're going to land now. And I've never seen that look. So I wonder, what's that level for all you pilots where you would land or where you don't want to go any further or, like, man, I'm good. Today's been nice.
Well, that's a great thing because for me, it's the comfort of my passengers. When I was flying back from High Sierra, the first time ever, I had a ground speed in an actual airplane. I had a ground speed of 43 miles an hour. I had a 46 mile an hour headwind. Craig, if you were in there, I would have landed. But without you, it's good. But I was watching cars just fly by me.
So, okay. I want to go back to the beginning for a second, if that's all right. Let's go back. We're talking about Old Green Plane. We showed a little clip about it. You guys talked over it a little, explained it a little bit. But for those who haven't seen you, how did that start? Or maybe we have to start further back, Collin, with you learning to fly and all that stuff. Because I think that story is fascinating to me, from budding aviator to show, and the story behind the show is all really kind of amazing. I don't know, is that a good place to start? Should we go back there? Would that be all right?
Absolutely. That's the roots. You always start at the roots. So I was raised in aviation. My dad bought the plane that we fly. He bought it brand new in 1960. And the internet's a brutal place, right? So everybody looks, online. They're always, well, it's a 1961. It may be. It's a 1960 Model D. He ordered it in 59, took delivery in 60. It was licensed as a 60, whatever. But Model Ds are actually 61 airplanes. As a little kid, and you've got pictures of that, Ryan. I think I sent you a couple pictures of me when I was just a little baby, and my mom holding me in the arms, and her arms and loading up. I was born in Chicago, and we'd fly around and up to Mackinac Island and do all that stuff. That was kind of the weekend getaway in this 182. Well, he sold it in the 70s, and my brother actually found it in the late 2000s, and I was able to or not the late 2000s, but in 2000, whatever, 13, 14, we found the airplane, brought it home, fixed it all up, and I took Craig. Craig and I have worked together for a long time, and I took Craig flying, and we took a guy from the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, and it was so funny because Craig was hanging on with both hands, and the dude from the Chamber of Commerce was like, everybody's got to experience flying in a small plane. And we got back to the office, and Craig was like, God, that guy's right. We got to hook some cameras onto this plane and start taking people for rides. That's the whole way this show started, because my whole passion is sharing my love of aviation with people that otherwise might not get the chance. I had the chance because I was raised in it. Other people don't get that chance, so I feel like that may be why I was put here on Earth, is to, well, love my family and fly airplanes.
And this
So that's
is
how the whole premise is.
here's the, I think this is the photo you're referencing, this old, like, this is like back in the beginning, right?
Yeah, that was in 1961. That's actually my dad on the right, my Uncle Reno, my Aunt Phyllis, and my mom. And then if you go to the next picture, there's one of them holding, my brother was like 10 years old. I think I was, he was probably 8. He'd have been 12. I was 2.
I've got
It's
this
just
one of them like filling it up.
That's actually in Wichita, Kansas, where he took delivery of it. And it's funny because when we showed that picture, when we got to go down and tour Textron Cessna, we showed them that picture, and they dug in the archives and found the day he took delivery, all that. And they actually parked the plane where he took delivery, and we got to get a picture of it. It's cool.
Oh, that's
Well,
awesome.
and Ryan, hold on to that photo right there, because you see the glasses that Collin's father is wearing in that very photo.
Sure.
So the day that Collin references when he took ownership of that and of the plane 62 Tango, and I was lucky enough to get into it, I, like opening up random things, stumbled upon a glass case, and when I opened it, were original it would have been the same year, 59 Aviators Ray-Bans that he is wearing right there. And to date, we keep those inside the plane. So that's an important photo, which we've shown, on social media or the show elsewise. But yeah, that's an important photo for this entire show.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing. How does something like that? Like, how does that? Like, I don't know. That just seems like impossible.
Yeah, but that's aviation, Ryan, because think about it. If you bought an airplane and it had a box of stuff in it, you're not just going to toss it.
No, that's
You're going to hang on to it because it was someone's legacy. And when we took delivery of that airplane, and there was a box in the back of it, and there's like these sunglasses, log books. It's cool stuff. Like, you don't get rid of it.
It's interesting they mentioned that. So I think we talked about this in Texas. My dad owned a Taylorcraft BC-12D back in the 60s, and through the magic of internet searching, right, I found the guy that it's kind of like there's a little bit of a parallel between your story and mine. Like, found it, took my dad to it. We got it, he had mobility issues. We got him like crammed in like a sardine into the Taylorcraft, and I'm crying. We're all crying about this thing, right? And then as that plane got, like, the owner that we visited passed away, it got sold to someone. Every time it got sold, I would get a phone call, because it'd be like, hey, like, I got this, like, EA wrote an article about it. It's like, I got this article and, like, your phone number in this, like, old World War II, like, ammo box with all, like, the stuff. And they'd ask me everything I knew. I didn't know anything about the plane other than that one experience, right? So, but it was interesting, like, every time an owner, to your point, Collin, it's like every time, boom, ring, ring. Hey, I own your dad's plane now. How are you? I'm like, oh, do you want to sell it? And they're always like, no. The sad end of the story is the last guy that owned it crashed it into some wires, and he lived.
Oh, no.
But it was written off, and I can't find it. Like, I don't know what happened to the wreckage. The AIG did something to it. So if anyone knows where serial number 6668 of a Taylorcraft is, if you can find that for me, I don't know. It's probably in pieces now. But it was cool.
But how cool would that be to
stuff.
have some of those pieces, right?
Yeah, dude, I'd take the prop or whatever and throw it on the wall. Anyway, I digress. So you've got this legacy with this aircraft. This is the aircraft that you grew up in.
Yep.
It comes back to you, kind of.
Well, hold on, Ryan. Hold on a second.
Did we skip a chunk? Did I skip a chunk? Sorry.
Yeah, because you went right into that I grew up in. I haven't grown up yet.
That I can attest to that. After hanging out with you on the airport for a couple days, I can attest to that.
Right. So, okay, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, you said I grew up. I haven't grown up yet.
Okay.
And just plain silly's in the house. Do you ever get starstruck?
I mean, I do, yeah. I'm starstruck right now.
I got starstruck
Oh.
when I met him in Texas, and I didn't know what to say. So I said, and that was that. And so he was on my Instagram story, though.
Yeah, he was he came down. He was nice enough to come visit me at the show. And Eric, his friend Eric, the photographer, Eric Johnston, who was down there, and we finagled a ride for him in the Storch, in Levi's little like replica Storch thing. So.
Oh, that's right. Did he not fly the pants off of that thing, or did he fly the pants off that thing?
He flew the pants off that thing.
Oh my gosh, that was
Who's
awesome.
this? Who's this? Who are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
I know.
What is this
What
random?
is his name's Levi Sodgrass or something, isn't it? What? It's something.
It's
No
Levi
gas.
No Gas, which is
Wait,
also
it's literally Levi No Gas?
No Gas, and he's like a real American hero, like through and through, and a cowboy, and like mustache like that, like just like the best, most amazing man ever. But he he was definitely.
Hey, Jeffrey Jensen, the answer is I'm still hiding from the FAA. They know nothing of an airport that you speak of. And they actually emailed me and asked me about you. So I that's where I turned the attention. So they know nothing of my airport yet. But anyway, so because it was just from my friend Jeff Jensen, who he sent me a message on Facebook and promised he was going to heckle us tonight.
Jeff, he's in here almost every week, I think. And by the way, Just Plain Silly, since this is totally devolved from a standard like Barbara Walters impression interview, Just Plain Silly says that Levi gave him a nice hug. Wait, are you saying Levi or Collin has nice, very soft hands? Brian, let us know. So one of you guys too.
I know nobody's ever said Collin has soft hands because, well, I know for a fact I don't. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Okay, so talk to us more. We saw in the clip there, you guys go, you build this show together, you start sharing it, which I think is really awesome. We saw a little bit in there some of the adventures that you've had, but like if you could like again just maybe summarize a little bit what you're trying. Like I know obviously sharing aviation is a big passion of yours. But like, what can people expect when they tune in to Old Green Plane? Like, what? So we can't just watch an episode right now. I'm curious, like, what do you got coming up? What's the new hotness?
Yeah, well, that's the coolest thing, Ryan, is you never know. And so when we set off to do this, I think that like a lot of the shows and the content you see right now that is put out there, it's pretty cool. But the every guy, the new pilot, he can't go land on an island. He can't go land on top of a mountaintop. So Craig and I wanted to do something where we just take the everyday pilot and we take him on an adventure that they too could do. And so, you know, a lot of the stuff you'll see is we'll fly to a festival or we'll fly to a fair or we'll go talk to somebody that's doing cool stuff and we just want to learn from them. It's kind of like comedians in cars get coffee, but we do it in an old Cessna. And, you know, it's not a plane that someone else can't afford. It's not some highfalutin TBM or anything like that. It's an everyday airplane that we all learned how to fly in, either a Cessna or a Piper or whatever, or a Bonanza. And we just want to take people on a ride with us and show that if we can do it, so can you. And that's the whole premise behind the show. Go somewhere cool, meet someone cool, hear their story, grab a great meal, and get home and do life.
And do life. And do life. So like is there if someone hasn't seen the show yet, what's the first, I mean, other than like episode 1, like if you had to pick one where you both had like the big, I mean, because you guys did a thing about, we're going to probably talk about Mayday later, got that,
yeah,
all that stuff going on, but like you've had some like pretty interesting guests hanging out. Like, is there one that was like just personifies the show that people should check out first if they're like, I want to check this out?
I mean, honestly, like you think of a progression through anything. The first time, you know, the last time you do it, you assume that's the best you're going to do it. And I think our last episode of the first season best personified like where we want to go. It's someone like me who, necessarily hasn't been exposed to aviation. I imagine everybody who's watching this right now is a current aviator, or a pilot, becoming a pilot, excited, and that's great. But you also got to admit that it's fun to bring people into the fold. And that's been one of the other exciting things about having Collin teach me about this world is that, I don't have a lot of hours under my belt, but it's fun to fly the plane and learn from you aviators. And that's, I think, Collin, one of the best episodes we've done to show the excitement of that, but also show the excitement of what that guest has going on than Dr. Jamie, who was our last guest of the first season, who was a Titan competitor. It's a TV show that The Rock did where you had common everyday people come together and do like old school, what was the name of that show that we all watched with what was the name of that show, Collin?
I don't know. You said this show we all watch, and I don't
Gladiators.
know what show we all watch.
The Gladiators.
Oh,
you mean like the American Gladiators?
Yeah, she was
with the tennis ball cannons and stuff. The
Yeah.
best show ever made
Yeah,
on television, except for yours.
Yeah.
Close.
Well, here's the only thing, Ryan. Here's the thing, though, bud. Of course, Craig's going to talk about this because he dominated me in the competition.
Okay. All right.
This came up in
That's
that. So when I
unfair.
asked the question to you guys, first thing, Jeff Jensen, the workout video. That's the one.
Yeah, it
First
is.
thing in the
It
chat.
is.
Boom.
It's also horrible to show off, and I'll speak for myself. My midsection was not typically tone as it usually is. Well, being honest.
Hey,
But,
dad bods are in, brother.
But again, I go back to this idea that I think one of the key parts of why I love the aviation community more than most is because you really welcome people from the outside in. You really want people to see, something they haven't seen before, and especially like a perspective of high above the world. Doc Jamie showed us the other side of, that show, the Titan games, but also she showed us the other side of our relationship, Collin. And, it's been tough because we've had a lot of competitions since that, where now every episode has turned into some sort of, I don't know, sad, but also funny competition. That's also where we're going, Ryan, is we want the show to become something that embodies most of the interactions you have with your best friends. They got a specialty, you have a specialty, and you show that off and you want to teach the other, and Collin and I embody that. And I think that's why we're excited to show off these people we have in season 2 is they might be aviators, they might be pilots, but they also might not be. So it's fun to show both sides.
And I don't know if we mentioned, we should talk about where people can find this stuff. Normally that's you save it for the end, but so people know. Because what's interesting to me is you also are on a platform that is emerging and very exciting as well, beyond YouTube and all the social stuff.
Yeah, and because the thing is when Craig and I started this, you got to remember, so you asked, what's our favorite show? Well, the show keeps growing. We started this thing off with, we didn't even have GoPros. We had what's the most offshoot of a GoPro? We had no pros.
I had a camera on my shoulder.
Yeah, and we're out there with a Razor flip phone and just whatever. It was so archaic. But as we progressed through this, we started getting a little better and starting to figure things out. But it was pretty interesting because I was on a phone call, and by trade, Craig and I work in a software company called Amped, and it's an employee recognition company that we write software for hospitals. So how exciting is that, right? It's awesome. But I was on a call with a guy that he has a software company that he too is in that space, and pretty successful gentleman. And he said, "Hey man, I've researched you and I heard you're a pilot, and well, I am too. And I think what you're doing on YouTube is pretty cool, but how would you like to kick it up a notch?" And so he had started a company called Carbon TV, and Carbon TV is an outdoors network competitor. And so if you think of Outdoors Network or Outdoors TV on TV, he did this as a streaming network. And, as we progressed through the conversations, it was pretty clear that Craig and I needed to find a way to get our content out that wasn't trying to compete for eyeballs against other guys on YouTube. And the reality of it is there's so much great content on YouTube that it's one of those, how do we differentiate ourselves? And so you asked the question, Ryan, and so our answer was, let's find outlets that we can take aviation to people that may not know aviation. So that's how we ended up on Carbon TV. And it was awesome because within 6 months, we became the fastest growing show on that platform, because you're taking millions and millions of hunters and you're bringing them up in an old Cessna 182. And they're kind of like us, like, hey, that's cool, you're landing on a field. Hey, that's cool, you're landing in a riverbed. But I want to watch something different. And so these guys stopped watching each other kill antelopes, and they started tuning into watching two dip dudes.
Good catch. Advertiser friendly.
Yeah.
Two dip dudes. Dipdudes.com. Don't go to that.
That's
I have no idea what's on that website. Don't go to that.
So that was kind of our differentiator. And so that's how we've grown the awareness. And we went fishing in a pond that nobody else was fishing in.
The thing that's exciting to me, and we were talking about this in Texas, what's exciting to me about that, obviously it's great for you guys because you're finding a new platform. You're kind of first to market there, finding success there. But the other people that benefit are all these like hunter dudes, right, that are watching this stuff, and they're getting it. Like we as a community benefit because we're sharing what we love to a new audience. And in a way that the way that you guys are doing it, I just a fanboy a little bit, right? Like the way you're doing is really accessible. It feels doable. It feels exciting, right? And it's something that would be very hard for, I think, that audience to find if they searched on YouTube, right? Like they wouldn't necessarily be served it as organically as they would where you guys are at now, right? So like they're getting exposed to it and learning about aviation and finding the joy, seeing the joy you guys have because it's on this new thing. I don't know. That's kind of a separate little benefit. I think it's like
we try to do both too, Ryan. Like I think the YouTube community has served us very well. I mean, there's been a lot of YouTubers. When Collin first came to me with the idea, we flew to this location that he alluded to earlier, and we landed, and he was like, "Oh, this is a nice place, and wouldn't it be fun to do some YouTube videos?" And he referenced all these, pilot YouTubers. I can't even name them now because I'm, again, not a pilot, but Trent Palmer. That's one that comes up. Corey.
Well, I think one of the first people that introduced
Kevin
me to
Quinn.
this, well, one of the first people was Bryon. Like just plain silly. I mean, it's such a fun deal because you get on there and you laugh your ass off. Yeah, it's like, here's a guy making light of something that is really serious. It so much to the fact that I remember watching him in his early years, and it got to the point where he had to have an episode about, guys, this is satire. Like, I'm not telling you to do what I'm doing. Like, who in the right mind thinks I'm serious? That's Ballard.
Don't actually drink the oil out of your plane.
Right.
That is not actually what you should do. Yeah.
And so I thought if he could do it, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, but we homage them all the time. Like a lot of the things we do are based on watching them and respecting all them and then taking it to the next level. So it's a compliment, so Collin comes to me and he's a fan, he's a pilot, so he says, check this out. I'm like, oh, that's super cool. But what if we could take up our favorite, fans and whatever and ask them questions? We could do it just like Collin said, like comedians riding in cars. And so it's respect on what was already there, and we're just taking to a new level. And in terms of like finding your home or wherever people want to watch, I think it hopefully, like, people watch us and it's authentic. Everything you see is real. I mean, there's nothing made up. I mean, we've learned, from great producers and videographers who know better about editing and shooting video than us. But at the same time, like, we go, Collin didn't really laugh that hard. You know what I mean? Like, we really care about it being just a good, fun time that we hope everybody else enjoys going along with us, I guess. Or being scared at laughing at me, I think, is a solid part of the episodes that is a good throughput line, and I totally respect that too, by the way. So
There's nothing wrong with that. It's unnatural. It's an unnatural thing.
My weekly crying showers are Tuesday, if anybody wants to know, and most of the time it's thoughts of Collin flying on normal, like this way, but me thinking it's going to turn upside down. That's just a normal thing. I don't get how you pilots deal with it, but it's called Tuesdays in Craig's world.
I, for a minute there, thought you were going to invite people.
No.
You're like,
No.
I cry in the shower on Tuesdays. Here's my address. If you want to come watch, that's also part of kind of a thing for me.
You're used to streaming live with Ryan at 8:30 on Wednesdays. Join Craig at Tuesdays.
CryingCraigInTheShower.com. Don't go to that website either.
Where I just hold these two models of planes who, that's in verse or whatever you Top Gun people talk about. So, that's a rant.
Right.
There you go.
You can't not have it. So, okay. What? Talk to me then a little bit. I mean, so it's interesting to me, right? Because there's a little bit of an Odd Couple vibe, right? Like, you've got like, and I think that's part of why the show works, right? I don't know if Odd Couple is totally the right way to describe it, but like,
100%.
You've got, like, Collin, you're out there, like, doing, like, STOL drags at Reno and NationalSTOL, and you guys have... Is Mayday part of, like, the Old Green Plane family? Like, you guys are, like, building that... Maybe you want to talk about that. I guess what I'm saying is, like, you've got someone who's, like, literally competing separately in a different plane, in a Carbon Cub, right? You're competing on a national level, and then you've got... the ab initio, right? Like, I'm here learning about this. I'm open. I only cry once a week about it. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about that. Maybe we should talk a little bit about Mayday or something like that. It's a bad segue.
No, it's a great
Both are
segue,
fine.
right? Because the whole STOL thing came about because, I mean, aviation is a community, and so a few years ago, they did a low and slow to Oshkosh, and Corey Robin, Kevin Quinn, Mike Patey, Trent, all those guys, they ended up and embarked into Lincoln, Nebraska. And we opened the doors, we rolled out the red carpet, and we had a ball. And I got to talking to Quinn and Corey, and I was like, yeah, your big tire planes are cool and stuff, but I have a 182, and I love to land in fields and cornfields and rivers and do all that stuff. And so Corey Robin asked me, hey, why don't you fly down to this event at Stearman Field, and there's a STOL course there, and we'll just hang out, have ball, and blah, blah, blah. So I go down there, and I asked the guy, hey, do you mind if I land my 182 in the STOL course? And he said, well, do you think you can do it? I said, well, I didn't even think I could do it. I sure as hell wouldn't have asked you because I'm not here to crumple up my plane. And I did it. I landed that 182 in less than 300 feet. And boom, 4 or 5 people came up and started talking to me. And, hey, man, you got to get this thing. I didn't want to fly my father's airplane, this legacy airplane, into STOL. So Corey Robin actually called me, and he was like, hey, man, we need to get you in a tail dragger. And he flew up to my house and convinced me to buy a Carbon Cub and compete. And I did it. And it takes nothing away from my flying the 182 because I absolutely, if you ask me what my favorite plane to fly is, it's Old Green Plane. I love that 182. But I jumped into this STOL with both feet, and it's been a blast, man. I learned so much in every event we go to. And of everything that I am, I'm a true heckler. And so when I get to fly with guys like, I do. I mean, I get to fly with the best of the best. I competed against Pops Joe Dory, who is literally unbeatable. And he'll tell you I'm unbeatable, but I'm there to heckle him. And I say, you're only unbeatable because you've never competed against me. So let's go. He did beat me by 8 feet, but
shots fired.
I know, right? And so I'm going to get Pops Dory. You watch.
Well, you did. I mean, sorry, Craig. So, we're just going to talk about Collin for a minute. So, So, I mean, you did separately though. Let me find the photo here. Like you're putting people in their place. That was Lone Star. I remember that hangar.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing: when you look at these events, the thing I love about these events is it's not about I won, you lost. It's about who's going to show up, who's going to do it, and so. With this event, my overall points put me in the national championship. And it was fun because, you get guys like CC Pocock that literally who I would think would call me or text me and bust my chops, texted me and was like, hey, man, congratulations. I wish I could have been there to see that landing. I heard it was awesome. Like, these are guys that guys and gals that you always want to learn from, and you constantly do. And they're not there to bust you down. They're there to build you up so you're a better pilot so you can make others better pilots. It's not about don't try this, because I'm telling you right now, and you saw it, the guy that won the touring class was basically in a stock 172, the same 172 that probably 90% of us learned how to fly in, right? And he's out there flaps, slow flight, and he's winning events. Like, it's not about like having these big baller badass planes. It's going out there and just practicing what we learned in our private pilot check ride. And that's what I love about these events.
I mean, separately, like, I think it would be interesting. I know you talk about, we don't want to like prang it up. And for instance, like your 182 would be heavy touring, right? National STOL or whatever. Those guys are also doing a lot to their planes within the rule set that they can. Like, you think about like Warren Grobelar, like there's no interior, there's no rear seats, there's no like, he's like totally doing what he can. But like you could still, I mean, you could be competing now in some of these, maybe the National STOL. I don't know if I would like STOL drag that thing, but you could. I think it's cool to see the Carbon Cub out though, and I think it always just cool to see the breadth of your experience and stuff. So. Anyway,
yeah, and most of my stuff, like I just really practiced and forced myself to get good at getting comfortable flying slow, and the thing is even in the 182, it's got to the point now where I love to put in 30 degrees flaps and see just how slow I can fly that thing a couple thousand feet off the air,
which
and
Craig
have a ball
loves,
doing it.
Which
He did it this weekend when we were shooting an episode. I'm like, what are you doing? He just kept on flying in circles, heavy flaps. I'm like, what are you doing? Now I get it. You son of a gun.
High deck angle.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
I'm trying to see if we
very
can go.
much.
We're gonna fly backwards. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Morgan asked, so what's the difference between my Cub and Corey's Ghost? I hope Corey's on, because I want to tell you the difference between my Cub and Corey's Cub is I beat him by 28 feet. So the difference is I'm in the cockpit.
Shots
Zing.
Nah,
Corey was
I
on
tell
this
you,
show
Corey,
a couple weeks ago. Such a great.
he's one of my best friends. I mean, I absolutely love Corey Robin, and he'll tell you there is no difference between his Cub and mine, but there is. That's just an amazing airplane flown by an amazing human being.
You're the amazing human being, right?
No, Corey Robin is. He's a great dude.
Especially, honestly, and all like what he's doing for mental health awareness right now. His vulnerability. Yeah. I really respect Corey. And during Oshkosh here this last year, we all hung out. The OGP crew and Corey and so many other great pilots. And I think, again, I know I've said this so many times, and I probably sound like a fanboy sitting on the outside, and I'm not, Collin. Don't you dare ever think I am a fanboy of yours. But I do genuinely love and respect the community. I was a baseball coach for a long time. I coached, collegiately and internationally, and what I love most wasn't like the wins or the losses. It's the locker room. And I think that's the same thing I get from, all y'all pilots. And to actually go back to the original question, Ryan, you asked Collin about Mayday STOL. That's a bubbling up. That idea is a bubbling up of the very energy you're hearing, now that about, Ryan. Just to create and bring that to the Midwest and Wayne, Nebraska. Right. So it's been a fun thing to see from an outsider's perspective. To just like, one of my primary jobs and the relationship in the Mayday STOL drag world is to not sell, but just tell the story to non-pilots, to fans, to children, to dads, like, and I say it's drag racing with airplanes, and they're like, huh, do what again? Like, those things don't go together. And that is such a fabulous thing to say, and actually then have people show up and see that that's true. So that's been a fun thing to be a part of. And Collin, it's also wild because Collin told me about the very first time he was going to race. I mean, the money wasn't on Collin early, just so we're clear. I love Collin, he's a great pilot. but I was like, yo, he's just showing up just to show off. I just want to let that be known. But then he texts, I am in the line at McDonald's, and he's like, I'm in second place, I'm about ready to win. And I was like, text my bookie like, oh damn, we gotta move that money.
You gotta move that money, boy.
We gotta put it on Collin.
Yeah.
But no, I love seeing the evolution. It's just a fun community, and again, it's a lot of respect.
Yeah. So wait, I want to ask you something, Craig. Like, you're watching all this, right? Like, and you're getting thrown into like all these events and things like that. I mean, and maybe this is common knowledge, but like, is this something you want to do? Like, do you want to pick up the yoke, pick up the stick, and like start flying yourself around?
Hey, Bryon, could you top mine off too while you're up?
Yeah. I was gonna say, now is the time.
Bryon just said I got to get up and grab a beer. Anybody need anything while I'm up?
What I was gonna say,
I'm drinking water.
Now's the time of the show when I'm going to bring in my psychologist. Just so we're clear. Like, yes, it's a weird dynamic. And yes, I don't typically really enjoy flying. But I think it's about trusting someone who has greater expertise than you. And I think ultimately you can learn something from that. And so that's been my favorite thing in life, is just like learning from someone who's smarter than me. Yes, they might risk my life, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't get in if Collin was literally a bad pilot. He's a great pilot. And that's why I respect all the pilots, because like I think there's this genuine respect for Bernoulli's principle. You know what I mean? So it's been a fun thing, and I have gotten behind the yoke, Bryon. I have held the yokes, I think is the proper term. Collin's let me fly and taught me many a time, although our show is quick to say we're not, obviously flight instructors, but we do take it seriously. So there's been an angle and an arc that we want to entertain on the show to let Craig learn how to be a pilot, but I'll let that sit out maybe in year 3. But right now I just enjoy flying and watching you guys do what you do.
I love how you can tell when Craig's lying because he looks to the right. And he just literally said this, because I enjoy flying.
I think there are FBI, like truth teller things that are based on that idea of looking to the right. So you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we just literally flew an episode on Saturday with a former NFL kicker. And I saw
the social post. It looked like you guys had a good time.
Oh, it was a ball. But I looked back at Craig, and I kept wondering, man, it's been a while since he's been in there. I wonder how he's doing. And I looked back, and this guy was hanging on with both hands and kind of saying a prayer. And that's true fear. Like I commend Craig for getting in that plane every weekend, because that'd be like you saying, I'm going to hold you underwater every weekend. I'd be like, it gets old after a while.
Yeah. Well, look at getting to meet like the Padies.
I was clicking around there. I was looking for a photo. I was looking for this photo to show you guys.
Oh, the best part about that photo is Craig and I were at the camper at Oshkosh, and I get a text from Mike Pady, and he was like, hey, man, where are you at? And I said, I'm at our camper making lunch and getting ready to head out. Where are you at? And he texted me a picture, and he said, I'm under the wing of OGP. Well, we'll one wheel over there and check you out. And I tell you what, talk about
I two-wheeled it
right there. Yeah, Mike and Chandra are the best.
I gotta get them on this show too. And maybe you guys will have to put in a good word for me.
If I was you, Ryan, I would, when I get them on the show, I think I would do like a 4-part miniseries. and literally, because you're gonna get one part of Mike just breaking down airplanes and putting it into vocabulary that you and I and Craig can truly understand. But the breadth of the conversation is Chandra's a beast. Like, she's a baller. That's just those are great human beings. And I'm not saying it because it's the Padies. I'm saying because take their name off. If that's Mike and Chandra Smith, they're just kick-ass human beings.
There you go. I'll put that. I'm gonna clip that out and send it to you. You got to
heard it here first.
Because Collin says you're good human beings. So what I was gonna say is, you said Collin. You were saying that's true fear in the back, and I was going to say that's a true friend. That's a true friend. You went fear. I was going to say friend. I don't.
Yeah, I tell you.
Sometimes that's one and the same.
But what you don't hear is the threats I have to make to Craig every time no, Craig, you're going to get your ass in that plane or else. Yeah. And I don't even know what the or else is, but I have to bribe him. It's kind of like getting a horse that doesn't want to load up. Well, you try different tricks every weekend.
It's always funny because I now sort of, when I ride commercially, I wonder if, like, the pilot, when they go over the loudspeaker, are secretly speaking to those that are scared to death. Because every once in a while, Collin will tell our guests, like, because we're all obviously on the same, audio. He'll be like, so now we're turning and I'm like, well, this seems like simple things to tell our guests. Or you're like, now I'm going to coast down here and very safely. And over time, I've realized, just like with the commercial pilots, they're just making sure the scaredest of those on their flight are okay, which is why I love and respect the man even more. So, like.
And now we're going to coast.
Yeah, don't worry, we're not going to die.
There's
if you ever heard that on Southwest, you should be worried. But every once in a while I get that. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's good today. Yeah, we're good.
There's some webcomic I saw that was like that.
When you describe it like that, Craig, you make it sound like Sprockets. And now on Sprockets, we dance.
Yes, well, we have landed many a time, my friend.
Yes, you can tell that everything's fine because my voice is calm. When my voice ceases being calm.
Right. Darn it, you look good.
You'll be having a problem.
Yes.
Ryan, have you ever had an in-flight emergency? Have you ever had a true emergency?
No, I mean, not really. I've had some, everyone's got a couple like, woo, that was something, but I've not had a true
Hold on. What is that? Tell us that story.
Oh, I mean, I got a couple. The one was it's a very classic one, right? Where you've got the pilot at a non-controlled field that is saying they're a certain place, but they are not actually in that place. And then you can see like the color of his eyeballs when you finally see him because he's close, and you're like, oh, that was a thing. I need to take a break. Close. That happened to me once. But that wasn't like a true, like an in-flight emergency. That was a not.
I would give it a.
Not emergency.
I'd give that a 6.5.
Yeah, it's kind of. It was more of a right. You're like, yep.
That's fair.
Yeah, those suck because those are the type of things that happen at like fly-in breakfast where nobody they don't practice that stuff, and all of a sudden it's like you get in there, and that's real stuff. Right, because that's how mid-air collisions happen. And I don't want to. Nobody likes a one-upper, so I'll never one-up anybody. But I've had quite a few in-flight.
But I'm going to one-up you right now. No,
I'm absolutely not.
We're almost out of time, so why don't we give us a good? You've got some adventures under your belt. You got one you want to share real quick before we wrap it up?
No. But because Craig knows where I'm going with this. I've had a couple in-flight emergencies. I've had multiple dead stick landings. I've been in some situations, and it's because, well, most of the time I'm an idiot. But while we have a couple minutes, you brought up Mayday STOL.
Wait, that's it? That's all you're gonna give us?
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna go into. I mean, who hasn't as a pilot? If you've flown long enough, you've had an in-flight emergency. I mean, yeah, I may have greased my shorts once in a airplane.
I mean, what pilot hasn't almost pooped their pants just because they didn't get down there? Everyone's done that, right?
Huh.
Yeah,
Well.
just a bunch of dudes
Oh,
almost
you
pooping their
almost.
pants.
Oh, you almost did. That's interesting.
Oh, that's-
Anyway, I know a guy, but no, I mean, we only have a few minutes, so let's.
No,
in the
I mean, this
spirit
can
of
go.
it, we got to talk
you
about
wanna
Mayday
go?
STOL.
You want to go an extra hour? Like, I don't think anyone cares. Let's go. Let's
You guys
want
want
to
hang
have
out?
anything else? to do
Hold
today.
on. Let's throw this out to those that are watching us. Does anybody want to go another 10 or 15 minutes, or do you guys want to go to bed?
Geez, that's pretty early.
No one say a
Silence.
thing until someone.
Well, it's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute.
Right.
Here's
Don't
what
you
we're
have
gonna
a
do.
poll?
We're gonna play. We're gonna play. A
You know the
game.
power of a good sermon is?
We all
The
go to
power of a
sleep.
good sermon is the silence of it.
Mm.
Who wants to?
Mm.
Oh, it's time to crash. Wolf Pilot says it, so let's put her down.
Well, Wolf Pilot though, you can't trust that guy. He walked up to me at NationalSTOL and Lone Star Stol, and he said, "Hey, have you seen that Blanco Lirio guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's great." He's like, "Yeah, they should have got him instead of you and Collin." So you can't trust Wolf Pilot.
Oh, look at this. These guys are saying, let's keep going.
Yeah, they want to do long final. But here's what I was gonna say. Let's play a game real quick. We'll play
Oh,
a
boy.
game called Short Final, and after that, Wolf Pilot. I'm just messing with you. I think you actually did say that, but
Long final.
I'm not mad about it. Anitra's seat. I'm out. She doesn't want to stick around. All right,
Anitra,
so
I'll get you my itinerary ASAP.
Anitra, making it happen.
Anitra, send you an email about this.
She's never heard
Well
that
done.
before.
Well
All right.
done.
No, I say it to her 25 times a day.
So this game is called Short Final. Short Final is it's like 60 seconds on the clock, but because we have the three of us here and I didn't mock it up in time, there won't be a clock, so it's even easier for you. We just put on some good music. I'm going to ask you a bunch of airplane questions. You both answer, not just Collin. I want teamwork makes the dream work here.
Fair.
So some of them might be more Collin questions, some of them both of you, I think.
Hopefully.
Perfect.
All right, so let me just put the dramatic music up. Here we go. All right, Short Final with Old Green Plane. First, this one's for Collin. North up or track up?
Ah, gosh, I tell you what, I do North Up.
They're both good basketball teams.
There you go.
Wait, what?
Okay, what
Hold on.
about the
Hold on.
favorite airport you guys have ever landed at for Old Green Plane?
Oh, dude. You know that one.
Really? Which one? You say it.
Cornfield.
Cornfield it is.
Cornfield it is. Okay, if you had to pick one favorite passenger / guest,
God dang you, Ryan. Why do you do this?
if you can't do
Nope.
it, you have to be diplomatic.
I'm going to pass
Your
on
wife.
this one.
Your wife.
Oh, my wife. She was great.
Clearly.
Every guy in the show is like, oh wait, my wife.
Yeah, my wife. She was great.
Okay, last thing. Favorite aircraft you've ever flown in, and this is both for you. Both of you, I want to hear about that one.
Craig, say it.
Old Green Plane, baby.
Really? I
No,
think
the one that
favorite-
almost made me throw up.
Oh, the
that one.
CJ6?
You got it.
Yeah, that was great. So I think my favorite one has been a 1941 Stearman.
That's
Yeah.
before the music ended. We did it.
You made it. I don't know what you won. You
Jeff,
won
I'm looking
something.
to the right because I don't know if I can look at my camera or if I look at my screen or if I look at. I wasn't lying. It was the 1941 Stearman.
Good. So what did
I
we
would've-
win?
Nothing. There's no.
Hmm.
If
enough.
anyone wants to sponsor a Short Final to give our guests some amazing prizes, hit me in the bloop-de-loops. All right, we got 15 minutes. We'll extend a little bit longer to tell. You can tell this story, and we'll wrap it up for the night on that exciting note. And then, it'll be great to hear this epic story that you're preparing to tell us.
I don't think we're going to. Well, first off, again, I want to bring it back. We got to talk about Mayday STOL.
Okay, fine.
Oh,
Talk
boy.
about Mayday STOL. Yeah, dude, whatever you want, man. It's your show now.
No, it's not, Ryan. This is your show. But you asked me about it at the beginning, and it got.
I need.
Gosh,
No, I know.
if you
We got to
look at
talk
my
about it.
screen here, if I can look at the bulb on my finger, that's perfect. Anyway, I
Mayday
digress.
STOL.
Mayday STOL, a great event. Wayne, Nebraska, Wayne, USA. Those of you that have never done STOL, you need to come out and check this out. It is one hell of a well-run event. We teamed up with Stoldrag. Kevin Quinn, one of my closest friends, the dude comes out, puts on a class. I don't care if you're flying a tri-pacer or if you're flying a cotton-picking super STOL airplane. He will teach you slow flight. He'll teach you spot landings. He'll teach you STOL drag. Come out, have a ball. It's, what is it, Craig, May 22nd of next year?
20th to the 22nd, yep.
20th to the 22nd. And listen, even for those of you that are flying, dare I say, Brian Turner, Cirruses, bring them. Let's do this thing. Mayday STOL.
Now the story.
God damn you, Craig.
I was waiting to see if Craig had my back on that or not. I was like, okay, let's see what were you saying about the sermon, the silence? I just out Caneva'd you.
Dang you.
That's rare. That's rare, my friend.
That is rare.
How dare
All right.
you out Caneva?
So are we really going to walk this? Are we going to toe this line of true in-flight emergency?
First and foremost, we need to let everybody know that if you don't want to hear it from us now, you may not, I don't know. But the last episode we shot, there's going to be a great... So if you're one that enjoys, anticipation, then that might be better. Tension, waiting, what is that called? Binging on shows, I guess, that we all do now. Then there's definite interest in that. But as an outsider... Again, this story...
is the most embarrassing. This is the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to a human being in their life.
Well,
wait, just stop. I want to just do a little check-in. Is whatever is about to happen, or this conversation that I don't care if you tell it or don't tell it, whatever. Are we still going to be friends if you tell it, or are you going to be mad at me? Are we going to be in Florida and you're going to be like, Ryan, when I was on your show, you were not picking up on the signals I was putting down. You weren't a good partner. And I didn't want to tell the story. And you guys forced. If you want to we can just say, guys, wait for the episode. Bango, bango. I hit the button. The show's over. No big deal. I got your back.
Bingo, bango, bongo. I'm just saying, once you hear this story, it's one of those things. I mean, we've all been there. It's a very humorous deal, but the reality of it is, once you hear the story, it's like getting inducted into what I have to believe is like getting inducted into the Hells Angels. Once you're in this crew. We have inner circle. You can't leave. Once you know this about me, you know my deepest, darkest secrets.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Isn't this where we go to Patreon or something? Where we move to?
And go to. Well, we could say you could say you're not going to tell now, but there's a Zoom chat after this, which I don't even know if I invited you guys to. You could come there and you could tell those people, the Patreon supporters, that story, and then we could leave it on a real cliffhanger.
Let's set it up. Let's set the whole story up. So Craig and I work together in a software company. We had just launched a new version of our software. Everything went off flawless, so I took everybody in the office out for cocktails that night. And we went to this bar called the Old Pub, and we just went ham because, oh my gosh. Well, we just had a blast. And the next morning at the office, we showed up and everybody was, oh my gosh, what a night. And we were going to shut the office down early that day at I don't know, Craig, we were going to have lunch together and then call it quits, right, for the weekend.
Yep.
There wasn't a person in our office. Our whole team was just like, oh, I can't wait for Friday to get over. I just want to go home. And we started asking everybody in the room, what are you doing this weekend? And Shannon, who worked with us, she said, well, man, I got to go up to middle of America for this.
Yeah.
For
it was
a
out
wedding.
there.
Oh my gosh, it was way out there. And she was like, so I'm really going to take off early. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to take off. And she starts packing up her bag. Just then, Craig looks over at me and he said, hey, we just got a support ticket. And I opened my computer and one support ticket went to 50,000. It was boom, boom, boom. Our whole system crashed.
Oh no.
And we write software for hospitals. So, oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Not good.
And it was all hands on deck to try to solve and fix this problem. And Shannon puts her bag down and opens up her computer and starts doing customer support. All of us run support when crap like this happens. And see, I caught myself again. Anyway, so we're working on this issue for several minutes, and she looks at me and she goes, Collin, if I'm here for another half hour, I'm going to have to ask you to fly me up to it was like Wapachuku, Nebraska, way the hell out there. And I said, fair enough. Let's just get through this first. And so I said, everybody bear down. I'll buy lunch. So I ordered lunch. And for lunch, I ordered from this restaurant that served like barbecue, macaroni and cheese, French fries. There wasn't a green to be had.
Not good for your booty hole.
No. And on top
very
of
good
that,
for your stomach. Not good
I
for
told
that
the guy, the delivery guy, I was like, and bring about a case of Mountain Dew because we need to. So we eat lunch. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we solve this problem. And everybody's like, sweet, everything's back online. Let's head home for the weekend. We headed home for the weekend, and that's it.
And scene.
And that's exactly what happened.
And that's what happened. So everybody gets home, and I get this phone call from Shannon, and she said, it's too late. I need you to fly me out to this wedding. You told me you would. Oh, crap, I'm already home. And so I grab a Red Bull and some energy stuff, and I take it, drink the Red Bull, go pre-flight the plane, fly her out to Wapachuku, Nebraska, wherever the hell it was. But I tell him I told Shannon, I'm only going if your husband comes with me. So I have someone to talk to on the way home. God, I wish I'd have never said that.
Oh, goodness. I'm starting to feel like I inadvertently called this.
Oh,
anyway.
It was terrible. So we leave. We land. We leave. I'm not feeling quite right. And, all of a sudden the Red Bull and everything starts kicking in. And so we're on our way back to Lincoln, Nebraska. And I'm talking to Minneapolis Center. And I'm at like 8,500 feet, just cruising, just like, oh gosh, just please get me home. And I could feel some gears start shifting. And apparently my face started.
I've never heard anyone call it that before.
Oh my gosh. It felt like I lost a cylinder.
Mama.
Like it was like chunk, chunk.
Rumbly in my
gear
tumbly.
shifting.
And so I do the old, I'm holding on to my seatbelt, just like, and the whole time Audie's looking at me like, hey man, are you all right? Are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Non-pilot.
You're like, here's how. So this is what a stall sounds like.
Oh, it was terrible. But then it hits me. You better find a runway pretty quick. And in between where we were at in Lincoln, there's like 2. And the one that I could get closest to, the fastest, was Columbus, Kilo Oscar Lima uniform. And I called Minneapolis, said, hey, I'm going to have to deviate and land in Columbus. Is everything okay? Pretty much.
I mean,
sorta.
The best part was I start my descent, and Audie's next to me. He's like, man, you got to tell me what's going on. If I need to land this plane, like, what do I do? And da-da-da. Are you okay? And I go, Audie, I'm not okay. I think I'm going to shit myself. And then it was like relief over him.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's it?
That's it? He thought I was having a heart attack.
He's like, feel free, brother. Let's just go home.
Oh my
no,
God.
The window's open on this thing. Let's move. Let's just keep it. Yeah, let's keep going. Yeah, I got it.
It was terrible, Ryan. But think about this. He said something that no man has ever said to me in my life.
I don't know.
He put his hand on my shoulder.
Oh, God.
And he looked me dead in the eye. And he said, just go, man. Just go. I looked at him. with as easy as I could. And I said, I already am. And we were on short final, and I'm holding on with dear life. I get that plane stopped. If I was in a STOL competition, I would have won any of them. I get that plane stopped. I had my seatbelt off. I had the engine cut and the door open. And it was, I don't know what it looked like when Mount St. Helens erupted. I wasn't there. I heard about it.
What is
But
happening?
on runway 17 in Columbus, Nebraska, I did what I had to do, holding on to the door and the strut of a 182. And Audie
That's
looked
why
at me
they
and
put
goes,
those there.
literally, Audie looks at me and he goes, holy crap, man, are you all right? And I was like, yeah. And so by the time all that was done, I taxied over to the FBO, and I was the most embarrassed guy in the world. Just like, and everybody there was like, hey, what's going on out there? And Audie, being the true friend, was like, oh, we spilled some oil. And
Oh no, but that sets off a whole different chain of questions.
oh, it was terrible, because the bad thing is have you ever dropped your shorts and tried to relieve yourself on a runway? The shorts were
honestly
done.
say no. Yeah, I can't
So
say it.
I don't know where those. I imagine the mower by now has chewed them up. But I went into that FBO wearing a beach towel.
Brother, I'm so sorry.
terrible.
But here's what I'll tell you. In solidarity, we don't have time now, but
Is this by chance on the interwebs?
this is on the internet. Yeah, you
Are
did
you guys
this.
recording?
Did Craig? Yeah, Craig. So here's the thing. On Twitch, I was on the Bro Pilots stream.
Oh,
And
no.
you fly the simulator, you fly the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they call it Autopilot and Chill. And what they do whenever anyone from Aviation YouTube comes on and flies with them, they all ask them the same question. Tell me about a time you pooped your pants. And I was really nervous about telling any story. And he's like, Josh Flowers told a story here about when he did it. Chris Palmer did too. You gotta have a story. And I was like, well, okay. So I told us it was not an aviation themed pants pooping, but I did tell. I told a story about it. We've all been there. It's a human thing. It's fine. I'm with you.
I appreciate
now-
that.
I now aspire to become a pilot, so I too can have a story like that.
Well, but here's the thing. I wish my wife was on here to hear you say that, because when I walked in the house that night,
Oh yeah.
wearing my T-shirt backwards with no shoes and no shirt on now, I had my shirt tied around me like a diaper, and I walked in the door, and she goes, what in the hell happened, and where the hell have you been? Honey, I gotta tell you. Then it was like full-on relief, because she was like, oh, okay.
Makes sense.
A similar thing for me. I called ahead and I said, I'm coming in hot, literally. I need you to clear a path. Make sure the kids don't see me.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah. Bro, it's
Well, on that
you're
note,
right.
it's been great.
If you Google, here's a challenge to everybody watching this. Google, airplane poop story, and you will read the funniest blog. This dude wrote a story about the time he crapped his pants in a Cessna
Private jet.
414A, and it was like this small business class, and he said the curtain cut him off at the chin, and all he could say to those sitting around him was, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, it is the best.
Well, with that.
On that note, well, this went
About as you assumed.
Yeah. I'm glad we went an extra 17 minutes so we could hear about Collin.
You should have texted me. You should have said hard pass. Ryan, hard pass. We don't need to do it.
But you're the one that said we've all done it. So
No, it's true.
now
Everyone
it's out
has.
there,
Anyone
like-
in the chat who's like, I've never done that, they're lying.
How dare you?
It's like every tailwheel
Yeah.
pilot that's like, oh, I've never ground looped. It's like, no, you have. You probably have. Or you will pretty soon. It's coming
Yeah.
for you.
If you say you never have, then guess what? You're next, and I can't wait to hear the story.
Right. that everyone in the chat's like, that went down the toilet. And fade to cut to commercial, cut to commercial, and scene. So much for our sponsorships, our mutual sponsorships. Those are gone now. But
hey, no, hold on a second. I want to welcome our newest sponsors to Ryan's show, Depends and Continental.
And Continental.
Oh, no.
and Wet Wipes. As newest sponsors, no. But for sure, you should get the sponsorship from Continental because it is the best toilet paper.
So anyway, this has been fun. Guys, I will legit say though, this has been really cool to hear, really cool to learn so much about you guys, about the show. I think people should check it out. I think there's the exciting thing we're talking about in terms of having both perspectives. It's a show that's accessible to everybody. It's fun for a pilot to watch, right? You're still getting that, like, what you need as a pilot, but it's also fun for, like, I was showing it to my business partner today. I was like, oh, these guys are gonna be on the show, and she was like, oh, let's watch it for a little bit. I was like, oh, cool. Like, normally people who aren't pilots, as soon as you start showing them aviation content, they're like, I got it, flaps, what, airspeeds, what, bleh, dumb, right? They're not into it. And I think what's cool is you guys make it accessible for everybody, and just really appreciate you guys taking the time to tell us about it, share some stories on the show tonight.
A few.
So,
We
Ryan.
have a blast. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. We have a ball flying. We have a ball filming. We just have a ball. The best thing is, and Craig will say this, I mean, we're the biggest self-deprecating human beings that just have a ball.
It's real.
Yeah, you gotta have fun. Cool. Well, dudes, I'm gonna wrap it up. Everyone else in the chat, I always say it every week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tuning in on Wednesdays and being part of this, I say it every week, is the highlight of my week, and I mean it. Even tonight when we're going off script a little bit. My Sky Bro, literally, I don't know if I've hugged Collin. I gotta say, since COVID started, I don't know if I hugged it. I don't even know if I've hugged my wife as much as I hugged you down in Texas, man. We had a lot of fun down there, and it's so cool to have hung out with you, and Craig, great to have met you tonight, and I hope we get to meet
You as well.
meet soon. Everyone else, like, on the, watching the stream, like, share, subscribe, ever Patreon's
Please.
a thing too, where we go hang out after the show. Last week I literally fell asleep during the Zoom chat, and people filmed me and made fun of me. You too could have that privilege.
Those are the best friends.
Let's do it.
So anyway, everyone, we'll see you next week. I think next week Steph Strickland's going to be on the show. She's had a heck of an aviation year, including landing. Well, she didn't land. She got to go onto an aircraft carrier, like, in the ocean. And they got a plane. So that's a story that she's going to tell us. Yeah, it was a thing. We didn't even talk about that. We didn't talk about any of that. You guys will have to come on the show another time.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Let's get you on our show, brother.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, yeah, let's do it.
Perfect.
All right. Everyone, have a great night. We'll see you next week.